Tonight, Air Canada is set to ground nearly all its flights by Saturday.
We're just sort of almost in a panic standstill at this point.
The threat of a strike and a lockout with more than 100,000 passengers caught in the middle.
We're not sure if we're going to go or not.
What you need to know if your trip is at risk. 4 new fires in Newfoundland, all allegedly set on purpose.
Knock it off. There's no need for this right now.
The response from a province already in a wildfire emergency. Does where you live change the way you live?
You might add about 1,100 steps a day on average.
How your neighborhood could boost your health.
From CBC News, this is The National with Christine Barak.
Thank you for joining us. Adrian is away. Just hours from now, the country's largest airline says it will begin canceling flights, and a potential strike or lockout could follow this weekend. If no deal is reached, all flights for Air Canada and its offshoot Rouge may be grounded. For passengers, panic over travel disruptions is already setting in. In a moment, we'll look at how the airline's fight with 10,000 flight attendants led to all this. But first, Jayla Bernstein on how travelers are bracing for the worst.
A possible Air Canada work stoppage is bad enough. The fact that it's looming in peak summer season, a nightmare for many.
We're planning on going to Halifax, and we just got here and learned about this very last minute. So because of that, we're not sure if we're going to go or not.
It's not just vacation plans affected. This couple's Australian wedding is on the line.
All the guests from Canada that are flying to Brisbane are all trying to scramble at the same time, make sure we're on the same flights. Like, there's so many things up in the air that we're just sort of almost in a panic standstill at this point.
If no deal is reached between Air Canada and the union representing most flight attendants, the airline says 130,000 customers could be affected daily beginning on Saturday.
Panic. Instant panic.
Some are losing faith in this country's biggest airline, says this travel advisor.
I mean, I have a lot of them that roll their eyes and they actually ask me, no Air Canada. They basically say to me and they say, I want to go here. Please don't book Air Canada. It's happening.
While a strike or a lockout could begin this weekend, the airline says it will gradually start suspending some flights Thursday and Friday. Air Canada Express flights operated by Jazz and PAL will not be affected, but all Air Canada mainline and Rouge flights could be grounded. Passengers traveling between Friday and Monday can change their flights for free if the ticket was purchased no later than August 13th, and so long as the travel is rescheduled between August 21st and September 12th. Some tickets are eligible for a refund, and non-refundable tickets are eligible for a travel credit. Air Canada also says it will do its best to rebook canceled flights, but travelers fear they'll be left in the lurch.
It's going to be a challenge for sure.
The thing is, with booking a flight, I mean, nothing is guaranteed. And if you're a tourist staying somewhere like here in Old Montreal, well, if you have to stay a couple extra nights to catch that next flight, no one's covering your extra accommodation.
And Jayla, a lot of people are scrambling, trying to decide if they should rebook flights or hope for the best. What's the advice for travelers right now?
Well, that travel advisor we spoke with, she said, number one, she's telling her clients to breathe. Second of all, she's saying rebook or book another flight with a different airline if you can, but they're filling up fast. And then finally, she's saying, cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Thanks, Jayla. Jayla Bernstein in Montreal tonight. Let's get into the tensions that are keeping the strike and lockout threats alive tonight. Marina von Stackelberg shows us why the union has rejected the latest offer and how the government could step in.
Here's why this country's largest airline might be completely grounded by the weekend. More than 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants are set to walk off the job. Their union says after months of negotiations with the company, they're at an impasse.
Our goal is not to strike or disrupt travel plans. Our goal is to be on board the airplane, but be fairly compensated while we're doing it. This is part of the process.
The union says Air Canada flight attendants aren't paid for the work they do before boarding or after landing. Tasks like helping passengers or doing safety checks. It's something both the federal Conservatives and NDP have tried to change. Both parties have introduced private members' bills to require compensation for that work.
And as somebody who is a frequent flyer, I think they should be paid for that too.
Air Canada would not respond to multiple requests for an interview. In a statement, the company said it's offering a 38% total compensation increase over 4 years. That includes some pay before takeoff. It says that makes its flight attendants the best compensated in Canada. But the union says that offer doesn't even keep up with inflation.
That's not even a wage increase to bring us to today's standards.
Air Canada now wants Ottawa to step in and force binding arbitration. The Jobs Minister has the power to end strikes in federally regulated industries by invoking a section of the Labour Code. The Liberal government has increasingly used that option in other recent labour disputes at ports, rail, and Canada Post. But it's a move that unions are challenging in court as a violation of the right to strike. Canada's Minister of Jobs, Patty Hajdu, won't say if she'll intervene. She's urging both sides to remain at the negotiating table, saying the best agreements are the ones parties reach themselves. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Police in Newfoundland and Labrador are looking for someone they believe set several small fires on purpose, all while major wildfires rage on. Karen Pauls has the latest on the rising anxiety and the all-out fight to contain the flames.
Water bombers and other aircraft tackled the Martin Lake fire in central Newfoundland. The main highway closed, flames just hundreds of meters away. People are stuck on both sides.
There was talks of the road being closed and all weekend, and we didn't really bother it because it was talks and it didn't close, and yesterday we got stranded.
In St. John's, a thick blanket of smoke from a wildfire dangerously close to the city, forcing part of a nearby suburb to evacuate, nearly 20,000 more on notice.
It's looking bad anyway, right, you know.
Including 97 residents of this retirement community. They're getting ready to leave at any moment.
Well, they was on the bed and packed it in a little bag, all ready to go.
We range from confident and prepared to high anxiety, so I fluctuate between the two.
Adding to that anxiety, police are investigating 4 small brush fires in downtown St. John's. They say they were intentionally set. A male suspect is being pursued.
Knock it off. There's no need for this right now, and adding this much extra worry to people in the city and tying up resources that can be much better used in other places.
We simply cannot afford any further risks.
The Premier banning the use of off-road vehicles on forested land until Sunday. Fines ranging from $50,000 to $150,000 or even imprisonment.
I really hope people understand the seriousness of the fire ban.
90 minutes away, where 3,000 people have been evacuated because of the Kingston fire, another 13,000 are on alert.
We've had 11 fires over the last 3 months. So everybody is thinking in our case that somebody is setting them.
Carbonear's mayor is also hearing from residents, angry because scarce firefighting resources are being moved to other parts of the province.
It's frustrating, I'm sure, to see a CBN area that had their water bombers and helicopters, and all of a sudden they were gone to fight another fire that had just started up.
And Christine, the mayor says there's not enough firefighting equipment to deal with all the fires in the province, and they can't be in 2 places at once. But the premier says the capital is not getting preferential treatment.
And Karen, I understand we have an update on the Paddy's Pond fire near St. John's. What's the latest?
Yeah, we just got an update from the province's fire information officer who says more humidity means less fire activity. It's no longer a roaring blaze. It's not growing or moving as quickly. And it means people here in St. John's are breathing a little easier right now.
Karen, thank you for this. Karen Pauls in St. John's tonight. Human activity is also being blamed for a wildfire that burned on the outskirts of Halifax. Water bombers were used to help battle the Susie's Lake blaze about 10 kilometers away from downtown. Officials say it was sparked by an open fire. It's now being held, but nearly 10 others are still burning across Nova Scotia. In neighboring New Brunswick, one fire is still out of control near the city of Miramichi. A wildfire on Vancouver Island is spreading fast. It's just 10 kilometers from Port Alberni, which is now under a state of emergency. It's grown to 21 square kilometers, or the size of Victoria, since Monday. Evacuation orders and alerts are in place. Over 500 properties are still without power. In the U.S., Donald Trump has issued another threat against Russia: end the war in Ukraine or face consequences. Trump meets Vladimir Putin in Alaska Friday. Ukraine is not invited. Ashley Burke now with the warning from Washington and the pressure from European leaders.
Thank you very much.
Donald Trump unveiling his picks for top artists who've shaped American culture and setting the stage for his big meeting with Russia's president on American soil.
I'll be very proud to end this war along with the 5 other wars I ended.
He's meeting with Vladimir Putin on Friday in Alaska, but is lowering public expectations, saying this first meeting is just to find out if Putin is even open to a peace deal with Ukraine.
And we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
Volodymyr Zelensky joining European leaders in Berlin for an urgent call with Trump, a last-ditch effort to try and push him to be tough on Putin and demand an unconditional ceasefire before any serious truce talks begin. Zelensky says he told Trump Putin is bluffing and doesn't really want to end the war. Countries like Canada and the UK united with European allies behind Ukraine.
Firstly, and obviously, there could be no negotiations about Ukraine without Ukraine.
Asked if he can convince Putin to stop targeting Ukrainian civilians, Trump giving no assurances.
I've had that conversation with him. Then I go home and I see that a rocket hit a nursing home or a rocket hit an apartment building and people are laying dead in the streets. So I guess the answer to that is no.
He did have one warning if Putin doesn't agree to end the war.
There will be very severe consequences.
But this former U.S. ambassador says Trump is repeating a familiar message.
The reality is that under this administration, there have been no tariffs, no sanctions, no costs imposed on Russia. And so in order to achieve a deal, one would think that one would need leverage with the Russians prior to going into negotiations. That has been entirely absent thus far.
He says the biggest winner from this upcoming summit is Putin because Trump's giving him a platform on the world stage and legitimizing him as a leader, even though Putin's accused of war crimes and has been isolated by much of the Western world.
Actually, Trump has been accused of going easy on Putin in the past.
Yeah, Christine, Trump, for the most part, has held back from harsh criticism of Putin, but lately he's been showing signs of frustration with Putin's unwillingness to end the war. So how he handles Putin on Friday will be a big test.
Thanks for this, Ashley. Ashley Burke reporting from Washington. The Gaza Health Ministry says at least 123 people have been killed there in 24 hours. That as Israel's Prime Minister repeated controversial comments about allowing Palestinians to leave, but adding he's not pushing anyone out. Sasha Petrusik now on the desperate situation on the ground.
Canadian aid drops from Jordanian cargo planes. 9 tons of pasta, canned fish, and more meant for starving Palestinians in Gaza. Allowed in because of international pressure on Israel, but still not enough, say aid agencies. Below, the suffering continues, with more severely injured brought to Nasser Hospital. Many shot while trying to get food, say witnesses. Israel denies targeting civilians. Wake up, says Farah Al-Jarani, speaking to her dead husband. You are my soul, my life. At least 123 people have been killed over the course of a day, says Gaza's health ministry. Airstrikes have been pounding Gaza City in advance of Israel's planned ground offensive, an occupation aimed at eliminating Hamas, says Israel, but leaving few safe areas for civilians. Israel's prime minister says no one is being pushed out. Still, Palestinians will be given the chance to leave Gaza. Hardliners in his government have been pressuring for Israeli settlements to take their place. Palestinians and Arab countries denounced that plan, along with Israel's military escalation. Instead, Egyptian mediators are trying to restart negotiations for a ceasefire.
We are talking with the Hamas, with the Israelis, and we're still pushing for a deal.
Trying to bridge Israel's demands that Hamas give up control of Gaza and its weapons with Hamas's insistence on a complete Israeli withdrawal. There is no sign of progress yet. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Toronto.
In Alberta, advanced voting numbers are in for next week's federal by-election in Battle River-Crowfoot. About 14,000 people voted over a 4-day period. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is one of more than 200 candidates in the race. He's trying to get back to Parliament Hill after losing his Ottawa seat in April. The by-election is set for Monday. Canada's longest court trial has ended with a precedent-setting ruling on an Indigenous land claim. As Georgie Smythe explains, it could have major implications for land ownership.
This land on the banks of the Fraser River in Richmond is what Cowichan Nation argued was their traditional summer village called Lucktinas, a place their ancestors fished and lived on for generations. But they lost access about 150 years ago. Now a BC Supreme Court says it should be handed back.
We pursued this case to honour our history and our future and who we are as Cowichan Mistimo.
It's unclear exactly what lots inside this claim area could be transferred, but the land isn't just owned by the Crown. It features houses, a golf course and industrial land, making this decision unprecedented, potentially upending legal foundations of land ownership in Canada, says this lawyer.
Puts a serious cloud of uncertainty and unpredictability, not only on the lands involved in this particular decision, but all fee simple lands in British Columbia subject to Aboriginal title claims.
Fee simple land is the most common way people buy and sell freehold land in Canada. The province, one of the defendants in this case, says upholding that is critical to protecting property.
What that does is protect the interests of property owners. So when they own a title or they own property, that's protected under our various legislation that's out there.
2 other nations, including Musqueam Indian Band, say the decision infringes their rights to fishing too.
Our declaration was submitted to the government in 1976, and we have deep ties to that specific area.
In her decision, the judge ruled both the federal and provincial governments must now negotiate in good faith with Cowichan Nation. Instead, the province says it's appealing, potentially setting the case on a path to the Supreme Court of Canada. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Calls are growing tonight for stronger cross-country coordination in the fight against wildfires.
The situation is catastrophic. Some of the towns are totally wiped out.
Why some are urging Ottawa to tap into Indigenous knowledge. A new study confirms where you live impacts how much you move.
I wouldn't want to live in a city where I had to just take a car everywhere.
The data and the potential health benefits. Hollywood's summer of remakes is dominating the box office.
Everyone is talking about Comeback Kid. Happy Gilmore.
But are these nostalgic reboots killing creativity? We're back into. At least 9 people were killed in a powerful explosion at an explosives factory in southern Brazil. The blast happened early Tuesday, shattering windows on homes over a kilometer away. First responders have been searching for more victims and investigating the cause. It seems obvious, walkable neighborhoods mean more walking. But now researchers are measuring just how many extra steps people are taking based on where they live. Alison Northcott on how making a move can shape our habits and our health.
This is one of Montreal's most walkable areas.
I've never had a car the whole time I've lived in Montreal, so we walk everywhere.
With grocery stores, parks, and public transit, it's easy to get around without a car. And a new study in the journal Nature has found when people move to more walkable U.S. cities, they increase their level of physical activity by about 1,100 steps a day.
Your city can help make you healthier. The design of your city impacts how much you walk, and as a result, your health.
The study used smartphone data from more than 5,000 people, giving researchers before and after snapshots of how each person changed their habits. This epidemiologist says it adds to other Canadian research looking at health benefits of walkable cities.
We've been involved in many of them that have shown decreased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, prediabetes, also mental health benefits.
In Peel region west of Toronto, many communities are car dependent, and there's a high prevalence of diabetes. Health officials want to give residents a chance to build physical activity into their daily lives.
Connectivity to streets, walking through the communities, having sidewalks, and having bike lane options as well too. And this is where public health and local planners need to work closely together to improve the health of the residents.
In this Calgary suburb, residents are used to driving.
That's just part of living here.
And having more nearby amenities isn't necessarily what she wants.
Before, like the strip mall there with like the daycare and things were in it, one thing that we appreciated was that really if you didn't live here, there was no reason to drive up here.
Still, the study's authors hope their findings will influence how cities are designed, while reflecting what residents want and what could make them healthier. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
We continue to track the wildfire fury from BC to Newfoundland and Labrador.
The idea that we're going to be able to knock down fire and keep it down across the country is kind of a pipe dream.
Why calls are mounting for Ottawa to reshape its response. And Finland's president, Alexander Stubb, shares his insights into Russia's war on Ukraine.
If we live in a world where, might is right, we live in a lawless world.
The National breaks down the story shaping our world next. High on a hill overlooking Calgary, this hardy goat herd is hard at work. The city's annual targeted grazing program will see 800 hungry herbivores spend the next 2 weeks grazing on parkland vegetation and tilling the soil with their hooves. Their goal is to help remove invasive plant species, improve biodiversity, and lower the risk of grass fires. This summer's list of top movies might make you feel nostalgic. Remakes and reboots are dominating the box office. As Ali Chiasson shows us, both Hollywood and audiences are embracing the past.
From How to Train Your Dragon to Freakier Friday, Happy Gilmore 2 and The Naked Gun. For box office hits in the summertime, Hollywood is almost all remake, reboot, and recycle.
As long as they're interesting, I say go for it.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch.
The Lilo and Stitch live-action remake, first movie to gross $1 billion this year. The Happy Gilmore sequel smashed Netflix records. Nearly 47 million people watched in the first 3 days.
People like what they like.
That's exactly why studios can be risk-averse, some calling sequels box office insurance.
They love the tried and true in those known brands. Movie theaters within that 18 weeks of the summer, that generates close to 40% of the total year North American box office.
I'm really hoping this is a hit.
Freakier Friday sure was.
Any other ideas?
The Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis reboot was #2 at the box office opening weekend, grossing $29 million. For director Nisha Ganatra, the nostalgia was nice.
I think it's a craving people are having for, connection.
Come on! The connection and the cash, both driving demand. It wasn't until studio execs called How to Train Your Dragon director Dean Dubois that he even considered another sequel.
This idea of a live-action reimagining, which to me was like, okay.
What about the perceived lack of originality?
It's rare that you find true originals out there, but we are seeing it. Look at Sinners, how well that film did. Weapons, F1 is an original.
Next month's Toronto International Film Festival will usher in new original movies, but with another Avatar, Spider-Man, and Devil Wears Prada in the works, reboots and remakes are hardly a thing of the past. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now let's break down the stories shaping our world. Keen to reinforce Kiev's interest ahead of Trump-Putin-Alaska peace talks Friday, European leaders, including Finland's president, met for an emergency virtual summit today.
We're coming to a point where everyone understands, so we have to end this war.
Alexander Stubb opens up about his support for Ukraine and personal ties with Trump. But first, in the midst of Canada's second worst recorded wildfire season, calls for a centralized agency to better align resources and the response.
We need that coordinating body at the federal level.
Julia Wong looks at whether Canada needs to rethink how it fights wildfires and if a centralized command is part of that.
From BC to Manitoba to Newfoundland. Wildfires this summer have been relentless, driving countless Canadians from their homes and wreaking havoc.
The situation is catastrophic. Some of the towns are totally wiped out.
Eugene Howell was forced to flee his hometown of Northern Bay, Newfoundland this past weekend as flames moved closer. When the order came down to leave, his priority was keeping his 96-year-old mother calm. But having gone through evacuations before, Howell wishes the country's wildfire response was better.
This is like going on in Canada many decades now. So I think it's been pushed down and down and down.
So should Canada change how it responds to wildfires? The Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs thinks so. President Ken McMullen wants a National Fire Administration, a federal agency to organize municipal firefighting resources.
We need that coordinating body at the federal level to work on the coordination, the response, the training, the equipment needed in order to most effectively put those resources around our provinces and territories.
The Federal Emergency Management Minister Eleanor Olszewski says all options are on the table.
One of the things that is definitely under consideration is whether or not we should have something like you called it, an administration or an agency, some different body at a federal level.
And there are other ideas. Yolanda Clatworthy is the interim director of the Mitigating Wildfire Initiative. She says suppression is critical, but argues Canada needs to be more proactive instead of reactive, from where homes are built to how communities are protected, to how forests are managed.
Spending upfront on mitigation and prevention actually is an enabling factor that amplifies response as well on the ground and makes it easier for firefighters and frontline folks to be able to anchor in and action a fire to protect communities.
Beyond that, a year-round firefighting force could pay dividends, according to wildland fire ecologist Robert Gray.
That will enable us to kind of bend the curve on the amount of area that's burning. If we don't start to do more of the mitigation work, then we're constantly we're just chasing fires.
Canada could also tap more into the expertise of its Indigenous population, says Glenn McGilvray with the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction.
They have millennia-long knowledge in the use of fire and the use of controlled burning and cultural burning. Maybe ground force, the federal ground force, can be made up of Indigenous peoples.
McGilvray says, in the end, real tangible changes may be hard to achieve, given just how big the country is. But he says Canada needs to start thinking differently about wildfires.
The idea that we're going to be able to knock down fire and keep it down across the country is kind of a pipe dream.
Florida is still recovering nearly a year after two deadly hurricanes weeks apart. Now they're bracing for a bad 2025 season, and Trump has cut staffing at the agency that monitors those storms. Here's a look at something Katie Nicholson is working on.
Call it Paradise Lost. Beach houses, normally full of vacationers, still full of debris. Nearly a year after two hurricanes slammed this part of Florida, just 2 weeks apart.
So the road was, 10-foot high sand on either side, debris, cars, just everything that you can imagine.
Here it is happening in front of your very eyes. Stronger, rapidly intensifying hurricanes because of the warmth of the oceans, record level warmth, and the depth of that warm water. I've known for decades that this would happen, so that adds the level of frustration to what I was feeling that day.
But this season, there's something else.
We're down 560 people in the U.S. National Weather Service. This includes meteorologists that are mission specialists. It includes maintenance people. It's funny because it's not just climate that's become politicized. Now it's weather too.
You can watch Katie's full story right here on The National on Thursday. Ahead of Trump's summit with Putin on Friday, we revisit a conversation with the president of Finland.
This is very much a fight about, the world order that we exist in.
Alexander Stubb weighs in on what it would take to reach a ceasefire deal. In Kyiv's battle for sovereignty, Ukraine's biggest supporter is arguably Finland, backing advocacy with millions in military aid.
The other relationship that you have in diplomacy is personal, because it's human beings that take these decisions.
So could the Finnish president sway Trump before the Alaska Peace Summit? Briar Stewart sat down with Alexander Stubb in July to talk about what's needed to reach a ceasefire deal and why he thinks Donald Trump holds the key.
Hello, hi. Hi, Briar Stewart.
Alex.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Finland's President Alexander Stubb. He's the leader of one of NATO's newest members, a golf buddy to Donald Trump, a wary neighbor to Russia, and a vocal advocate for Ukraine.
You have Russia ramping up attacks on cities. More civilians being killed, highest number of drones being launched. And Putin is not at all interested in a ceasefire, let alone a peace deal. So where does this go?
We're coming, to a point where everyone understands that we have to end this war. You see, the collateral damage of this war is mind-blowing in my mind. If this is a stalemate, if it's a war of attrition, how long can we allow it to continue? And we have to find the tools and instruments to end this war. And the only thing that Russia understands, and especially Putin understands, is power.
It was Russia's invasion of Ukraine that drove Finland to abandon its neutral status and officially join NATO in 2023. Finland's border with Russia is more than 1,300 kilometers long, and Moscow is currently bolstering its military sites along what is now NATO's northeastern flank.
Ukraine is not only fighting for its own independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. This is very much a fight about, the world order that we exist in. It's about international institutions, rules, and norms. I mean, if we throw them out, then what is left? If we live in a world where might is right, where a bigger player can basically do the acquisition of territory, then we live in a lawless world.
And I had read that after President Trump met with Volodymyr Zelensky at the Vatican earlier this spring, you had said that you were more optimistic about the potential for ceasefire negotiations. Yeah. I'm wondering how you feel now.
Well, it goes in waves, It's almost like one week I'm optimistic, another week I'm pessimistic. Right now, I'm quite pessimistic that we'll reach a ceasefire before the end of the summer. There doesn't seem to be a momentum. And of course, we're talking about a few thousand soldiers and civilians dead per week. And remember that what the Russians are doing, they are killing civilians. They're hitting civilian targets. So we need to come to a ceasefire. But again, after the NATO summit, I was more optimistic of where we're going, but I wasn't optimistic about an imminent ceasefire. So I think we're going to have to grind this out, unfortunately, this summer and see how it moves into the fall.
And I want to ask you about just sanctions on Russia. I mean, you and others, certainly plenty of others, have been calling for them to be toughened because despite multiple rounds, Russia is still managing. Its economy is struggling, but it's managing, right? It's able to keep funding its war for now. And what is it that you would like to see happen? I mean, what do you think really tilts this?
Yeah, well, go full Monty. I mean, that's my sort of answer to it. So, you know, if you want to end this war, you need to do two things. One is you need to continue to militarize Ukraine. And the second thing, we need to put pressure on Russia so that it ends the war. It doesn't have an incentive to continue anymore.
The European Union is poised to approve its 18th package of sanctions against Russia. And in the US, a bipartisan group of senators is pushing for a bill that would roll out a 500% tariff on countries that import Russian products like oil. If passed, it would mean India and China will pay a heavy price. Trump says he's considering it.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
But it's hard to keep track of his ever-shifting tone on Ukraine.
What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
In the past week, weapons have been diverted and then promised once again.
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to.
On several occasions, U.S. officials have threatened to walk away from peace talks altogether.
There's been signs that the White House might be losing patience with this process. What happens if Donald Trump and the White House lose interest in this?
Losing interest, I think, is a big word. Everything is linked to everything in international relations right now because we live in a very transactional world. So what we saw the U.S. doing in Iran might have a ramification of what's going on in Ukraine. We don't know. How will it have a ramification? The first thing is President Trump showed that he's willing to use force and power to get his way. Second thing, Iran is now weakened and cannot provide ammunition and missiles anymore to Russia. So will this then trigger Trump to be tougher on Russia? We simply don't know. But I do think that President Trump holds the key in getting peace here.
Trump's presence looms large over NATO, including at last month's summit at The Hague. He's been credited with pushing members to at least agree to hike defense spending to 5% of GDP. In a world where all foreign leaders are trying to figure out how to manage Trump, Stubb has been able to connect with him.
How would you describe the relationship that you have with him?
It's very important for a president of a small country to get along with the president of a big country. And I have to admit that in Finnish history, it's quite rare that the Finnish president has spent so much time with the president of the United States, either physically or on the phone or messaging. The takeaway that I have from it all is that you have to deal with foreign policy as the world is, not as you wish it would be. And the reality is that the United States has elected its 47th president in the form of Donald Trump, whose foreign policy is quite transactional. And then you have to deal with that. Then you have to think, okay, how do I influence? How do I have an impact?
Do you feel like you have Trump's ear at all?
In diplomacy, you never want to inflate your relationship. For me, diplomacy is about two things. It's state-to-state relations. I'm very transatlantic. When I was a kid, I spent summers in the U.S. and in Canada. And I studied in the U.S. So my heart is in North America quite often. But the other relationship that you have in diplomacy is personal, because it's human beings that take these decisions.
So what does he think about Trump repeatedly declaring that the United States needs to take control over Greenland?
We need Greenland. We have to have Greenland.
In order to beef up security across the Arctic.
During the Cold War, the U.S. had over 20 bases, military bases in Greenland. And there's nothing that stops them from having them today. So this should by no means be a question of territorial acquisition. Quite the opposite. It should be a question of investing into Greenland and have the Greenlanders decide on their own future. And their own future is in their hands. Right now it's very much part of Denmark and will be probably for the foreseeable future. Then we need to have them as part of the whole Arctic game. They're a very important part of it, strategically and otherwise.
So potentially more U.S. bases, more infrastructure on the ground, but not more control.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what we're probably looking at. And the Danes have been really good on this. You know, Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said good conversations, good diplomacy, and I think we just, you know, need to take it step by step and calm things down. I think that's quite often important in diplomacy.
In an effort to boost security and respond to a warming climate, the US, Finland, and Canada signed an agreement designed to ramp up the production of icebreakers. Finland is a world leader in building these ships. In August at this shipyard, construction will start on a new icebreaker for the Canadian Coast Guard, which will be jointly built in Quebec.
Russia has over 40 icebreakers, and Finland builds 60% of the world's icebreakers. We design 80% of the world's icebreaker, and we can churn them out in somewhere between 2 to 3 years. And we need to move fast. I think the alliance needs north of 40 icebreakers for itself, and that of course includes the US, Canada, Finland, and many others.
So besides the icebreaker pact, are there other areas where you see Canada and Finland being able to cooperate?
Well, we're rivals in ice hockey, that's the key to know. But no, I do think that there are many different areas. I mean, Canada probably now needs to hike up its defense expenditure because we have a 5% target in NATO, and Finland has a very strong and vibrant defense industry. I've always felt, and not only because I have an ice hockey background, that you know, Canada and Finland are pretty much hip to hip. We're very similar countries, similar mentality, similar nature, similar industry as well.
And you mentioned you had kind of lengthy conversations, I guess, with Prime Minister Carney at The Hague. What were your impressions of him and kind of where Canada stands, particularly with that 5% target?
Well, I mean, we didn't talk about the 5% target. We talked more about, you know, NATO, defense cooperation, the transatlantic partnership. We talked about the ice pact, and you know, what can go wrong when you've been a goalie at Harvard for the ice hockey team? So, you know, we hit it off really well with Prime Minister Carney, and I'm sure that the cooperation between Finland and Canada will continue.
And I'm wondering what advice you would have, or Finland would have, for Canada living next to a very dominant country.
Just continue to work with the Americans as allies and as friends. And you know, I've always said that, you know, you should never get flustered. You know, stay cool, calm, and collected. If sometimes, you know, language seems a bit on the rough side, take an ice bath and a sauna, that helps.
In Canada, we say elbows up now. Is there a Finnish equivalent?
Say what?
Elbows up, right?
Elbows
they do
up.
it like Gordie Howe.
Yeah,
They say elbows up
is fine, but I still think that they fight too much in the rink in the NHL. So, but keep the elbows up, but smile at the same time.
Maybe head for the sauna.
Head for the sauna and the ice bath.
In June, Finland announced its 29th military aid package to Ukraine, worth over $145 million, just 3 months after both countries signed a bilateral defense agreement. Coming up, a display of sportsmanship at the Canada Games in St. John's.
The Canada Games is about having fun, making memories, and meeting new people, so we had to join in right away.
How two teams went from rivals to revelers in our moment. This was the scene on the women's lacrosse pitch at the Canada Games. Minutes after Team PEI beat Team Newfoundland and Labrador, they started a kitchen party. They held hands, singing and dancing with Quebec and Manitoba, quickly joining the fun. Tonight, this display of sportsmanship is our moment.
So after a big 6-0 win against Newfoundland, Brenly turned the song on, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so fun. We know it's like a big song for like the Newfoundland crowd and everything. I actually went up and I was like, hey, do you guys want to dance with us?
We are all holding hands and dancing to a Newfoundland song. At first, I guess we were like, oh, this is odd since we just lost, but then we're like, the Canada Games is about having fun, making memories, and meeting new people, so we had to join in right away.
We know what it's like to be the team that gets beat. We grew up playing lacrosse in PEI. We just were shown to support each other. Sharing that with the other provinces and teams that we meet is just a great way to show what we know.
They were leading the dance completely by themselves. It was pretty crazy considering that they were doing it like a normal kitchen party. for us to be able to witness such a memory-breaking moment, it was incredible.
I wonder if the dancing got competitive at some point. The teams play each other again tomorrow and plan to have another kitchen party after the game. Both teams say they've never done anything like this before, making it their most memorable moment from the Canada Games so far. From all of us here at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Christine Birak. Good night.